Take control of your thoughts. Take control of your life. Throughout history, philosophers and intellectuals have acknowledged the profound influence of our thoughts on the course of our lives. As expressed by the ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus, man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them. It is our perspectives and judgments, rather than the events themselves, that play a main role in shaping our happiness and our life in general. Given the vast array of factors beyond our control, it becomes imperative for us to assume responsibility for our mental outlook if we seek inner peace. Marcus Aurelius gives us some useful mental exercises to help us think clearly and stay strong throughout life's journey. The unceasing challenges he confronted as an emperor mirror the perpetual distractions of modern life. We are fortunate that Marcus Aurelius documented his wisdom in a book called Meditations. This work was not meant for publication. Instead, it comprises his private writings, offering an unvarnished glimpse into his thoughts, routines, and insightful teachings. By following those Stoic practices, he managed to stay calm even when everything around him was chaotic. His meditations teach us not to worry about things we can't control, and to take responsibility for our thoughts and actions. So keep your mental channel tuned to Stoicism for clarity as we reveal Aurelius's top 4 rules to think clearly. Number 1. Focus on what lies within your control. The most fundamental tenet of Aurelius's philosophy centers on differentiating between what lies within our control and what remains beyond it. It's about recognizing what we can influence and what we cannot. Gaining clarity in our thinking is achievable only when we take charge of our minds. When an individual seeks only that which they can truly command, such as their own thoughts, judgments, and attitude, they are far more likely to lead a life in alignment with nature and discover inner serenity and tranquility. Stoicism provides a valuable approach to finding serenity in a world filled with suffering, anxiety, and insatiable desires. Let's explore this from a fascinating perspective. Stoics recognize that we inhabit a reality indifferent to our personal wishes, making it impossible to eliminate all suffering and pain. However, this doesn't render us powerless. Stoicism delineates 2 realms of existence: the external, comprising events beyond our control, and the internal, representing our mind's responses and interpretations of external circumstances, which we can control. Dwelling on circumstances beyond our control leads to perpetual discontent. Hence, the Stoic focus lies solely on what we can control. Our sense of contentment derives from the pursuit of meaningful values, rather than superficial pursuits, which then shifts our focus and helps us gain clarity in our thinking. This clarity of thought allows us to direct our energy and attention towards areas where we can make a difference, such as our own thoughts, attitudes, and actions. A truly content person can thrive without their desires or comforts. Wealth, material possessions, fame, or power hold no enduring value if their possessor hasn't mastered the art of living without them, recognizing their transience. Marcus Aurelius aptly puts it, almost nothing material is needed for a happy life for he who has understood existence. Temporary abstinence from our dependencies reveals our inner strength, showing that we didn't use them out of necessity but merely had them. Embracing amor fati, or the love of fate, means accepting all that occurs and directing our energies towards controlling our responses to events. We strive for virtuous actions, irrespective of the adversities life may throw our way. Stoicism, by giving importance to these inner values and beliefs, helps people in building a solid sense of right and wrong, and a deep comprehension of what holds genuine significance to them. This in turn boosts their ability to think clearly and make better decisions. Number 2. Challenge your initial perceptions. Marcus Aurelius imparts a valuable Stoic lesson: the power to influence our perception. Often we naturally evaluate everything we encounter, be it events, people, or scenes, and attach value labels like good, bad, dull, enjoyable, beautiful, or ugly. This habitual practice not only drains our mental energy, but can also have adverse effects on our lives. For instance, during a tough day, consistently branding every interaction as terrible only deepens our negative outlook. When we label an experience, such as a party, as tedious, it becomes confined to that one unexciting moment in our week. Our judgments are frequently swayed by emotions, making them less rational. Additionally, our inclination for constant judgment is intertwined with our use of metaphors and exaggerations that magnify negativity. For instance, in the aftermath of a breakup, we might say our ex shattered our heart, rather than recognizing that their feelings have changed. This way of thinking shapes our emotions. It's not the event itself that causes distress, but our subconscious choice of perception. In contrast, Stoics advocate for prudent judgment and urge us to undo our judgments, which means looking beyond our initial assessments. It involves challenging our initial instincts and evaluating things with a more positive and rational perspective. For example, we can reframe a dull party as an opportunity to explore a new place and meet new people. Even if we didn't connect with anyone, we didn't approach it with pessimistic expectations. Hence, abstaining from immediate emotional judgments is a potent way to train our perception. Whenever we form opinions, we should inquire, is this rational? What is the basis of my judgment? Can I interpret this more positively? Marcus Aurelius emphasized that something is only harmful if we perceive it that way. Thus, we wield complete control over how situations impact us. Stoics encourage us to view every negative event as an avenue for positive outcomes. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Rather than indulging in exaggerated judgments, examining things objectively reveals that life is simpler and clearer than we think. Each situation offers both positive and negative interpretations. Shifting our mindset helps us greatly in navigating life more smoothly, with reduced distress and mental fog. Number 3. Refrain from hasty judgments. You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Leave them alone. Meditations 6.52. Marcus Aurelius's Stoic philosophy teaches us to avoid and refrain from hasty judgments in a number of ways. One of the most important is by reminding us that we cannot control everything. We can only control our own thoughts, words, and actions. Everything else is outside of our control. When we remember this, we can start to let go of the need to judge others. We can realize that their actions are not a reflection of us, but of themselves. We can also start to let go of the need to judge ourselves. We can realize that we are all flawed and that we all make mistakes. Another way that Stoic philosophy teaches us to avoid hasty judgments is by reminding us that we do not have all of the information. We only see a small part of the picture. We do not know what other people are going through. We do not know their motivations. When we remember this, we can start to be more understanding of others. We can start to give them the benefit of the doubt. We can also start to be more forgiving of ourselves. We can realize that we do not always make the best decisions, but that we are always learning and growing. Here are some specific tips for avoiding and refraining from hasty judgments. Take a step back and breathe. Before you say or do anything, give yourself a moment to calm down and collect your thoughts. Ask yourself what you know. What are the facts of the situation? What are you assuming? Consider other perspectives. Why might the other person be behaving this way? What are they going through? Remember that you don't know everything. You don't have all of the information. Be forgiving of yourself and others. Everyone makes mistakes. When we follow these simple tips, we can start to live more peacefully and harmoniously with others. We can also start to live more authentically because we are not being influenced by our own biases and prejudices. Here is an example of how Stoic philosophy can help us to avoid hasty judgments. Imagine that you are driving down the road and someone cuts you off. You are immediately angry and start yelling at the other driver. But then you remember Marcus Aurelius's teaching that we cannot control everything. You realize that you cannot control the other driver's behavior. You can only control your own. You take a deep breath and let go of your anger. You realize that it is not worth getting upset over something that you cannot control. You also realize that you do not know anything about the other driver. They may be having a bad day. They may be in a hurry. You decide to give the other driver the benefit of the doubt. You continue on your way, feeling peaceful and calm, along with the clarity of mind. Marcus Aurelius's Stoic philosophy is a powerful tool for helping us to avoid hasty judgments. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Number 4. Simplify your desires. The nature of human desire has remained consistent throughout history. Desire is relative and tied to our awareness of possibilities. While people in ancient times may have desired different things compared to today, they still experienced a similar sense of compulsion to fulfill their desires given their knowledge and available options. One of the fundamental skills we must develop is the ability to both increase, upregulate, and decrease, downregulate the intensity of specific desires. This skill is important because cognition plays a significant role in our emotions, and it is closely linked to our desires. Strong feelings of desire often involve cognitive processes, such as mental simulations and fantasies, which can either amplify or diminish the strength of those desires. Marcus Aurelius provides specific examples of how to regulate our desires. Imagine when you have a meal in front of you, including meat and other dishes. Instead of succumbing to desire, remind yourself, this is the remains of a fish, this is the carcass of a bird or a pig, and this wine is simply grape juice, while this luxurious robe is just made from sheep's wool dyed with the blood of a shellfish. This approach should extend to various aspects of life. When we encounter things that may appear highly desirable, we should strip away their facade and recognize their true insignificance by removing the words and labels that elevate them. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, Book 6, encourages us to view food and material possessions objectively, breaking them down into their basic components. This practice can be applied to other desires as well, such as those related to sex, addictions, or wealth. Conversely, we can also enhance our desires by intensifying our focus on the positive aspects and delightful details of what we desire, creating a stronger connection with the stimulus. This can be applied to various situations, whether it's developing a deeper interest in a school lecture, enjoying a long drive, or relishing a veggie burger. This approach can even help us find value in seemingly unfavorable circumstances. Once we grasp these fundamental techniques, we can explore methods for regulating our desires more broadly. These are just a few of the many mental exercises that Marcus Aurelius gives us. By practicing these exercises, we can develop greater clarity, strength, and resilience. Everybody should start their day with this mental exercise. Here is a last, most effective example of a mental exercise from Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. Begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and moral breakdown, all of which are due to the ignorance of men. But I will remember that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood and birth, but the same mind, and possessing a share of the divine. And therefore, none of those things can injure me, for they are not evils. In a world that is full of information and opinions, it is important to be able to discern what is true and valuable from what is false and misleading. Comment yes if you agree to this. By learning to think critically, we can avoid being misled by others and develop our own unique perspective on the world. Many such things will present themselves not pleasing to every man, but only to him who has become truly familiar with nature and her works. Give us a like if you enjoyed learning more about the 4 Stoic rules to think clearly. And click the video you see in screen now to keep learning about Stoicism and becoming a better you.